Now, I'm going to want to obviously customize the lighting layout, but as you can see, the chunk borders do line up rather nicely. That is assuming that I, fill in the walls properly. However, I additionally want to fill in this way. I want to have the chunk borders all connected up properly. Let me just make sure that this is digging correctly. Ah, lovely. Okay, yeah, it'll dig correctly. Cool. There's diamonds in here. Nice. Okay, well, in that case, very nice. Now I just clear out this section here. This allows me to very easily map out all of this area, because I can very easily just go through, grab all of the resources from in here, build up the villager trading hall, and then not need to worry about anything. I'll fill that in for now. You can see that as the light level continues to get let into this place, it starts to brighten up a lot better. There's a lot more material in here than I can probably see. I'm just kind of blindly swinging my pickaxe through all of this stuff. I don't really care what the material is at the moment. I need the floor space, and this is prime real estate for where I want to put the village, or not the village, the trading hall. Technically speaking, I could move it over one more chunk, just to make sure. Wouldn't really hurt anything. I probably want to move the railroad line over to here, though. It's kind of difficult to decide. Some parts I want to have the railroad here, some parts I want to have the railroad here. In this instance, I just kind of want the railroad to go around the chunk where the village trading hall is, where the villager trading hall is going to be. I studied things in Dungeons and Dragons like what is the ruling for, if someone casts darkness, then if darkness comes in contact with a spell that had been upcast that produces light, will the upcast spell no longer be active if it was upcast using a spell slot higher than the level of spell listed in the darkness effect, which, by the way, is supposed to be leveled but isn't. And the answer is that basically darkness is supposed to have its effect nullifying any light sources of an equal or lesser spell level than the darkness spell itself. If the darkness spell level is of a lower spell level than the light level spell, for example, if you cast Continuous Flame at second level, then yes, your average casting of the darkness spell will cast the Continuous Flame and extinguish it. We'll cast out the Continuous Flame and extinguish it. The darkness spell extinguishing the Continuous Flame is because the Continuous Flame was not of a sufficient spell level. However, if you cast Continuous Flame at fourth level instead of second level or third level, then in the presence of a normal casting of the darkness spell, you would find that you have precedence with the darkness spell instead of having precedence with, or you would have precedence with the Continuous Flame spell instead of having precedence with the darkness spell, meaning Continuous Flame wins. Okay, now one thing I can do, because this is going all the way back into a cave, is I can actually offset this. And if I offset this, and I make it so that it's just one way and not, or like two ways and not four ways, then what I can do is I can make it so I don't need to move the rail line, because instead it will run parallel to the trading hall. This will get me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 28 villagers with various trades located in this trading hall. Now you can see why I've been taking it slow and working my way towards building up this massive trading hall. It's because I've got to build up a place to store 28 villagers. On top of that, I need to build up a place to store all of their various, all of their various spawning pens. I need to have my villagers properly working their various jobs. The end goal will be to have lanterns probably located behind the villagers in order to fully ensure that everything is well lit. That being said, however, I'm not sure if I want to have these guys sharing a back wall, because if I end up wanting to cure the villagers to try and reduce trade prices, I will need to make use of accessing basically the back wall in order to zombify each individual villager. Get a zombie trapped back here, and then just kind of, preferably a baby zombie, and then just kind of let the zombie do its thing on all of the villagers, and then I can go through and, treat the villagers. But, let's see, if they share a wall, what will end up happening is I can get, I can actually double down on this. I can get an additional, hold on, I can get an additional, wow, I found a lot of materials. What was I saying? Oh, yes. I can get an additional section of villagers out of the deal. Because, alternatively, what I'd be doing is I would want to have something like this. If I plan to make this a quad trading hall, I could totally go for expanding it, where, I do a 2x2 chunk, basically. I could totally go for that, but I don't think I will. I think instead I'll just go for the standard number, which I already have reserved here. The nice part about this layout is that because of the location of the walls and the torches and everything, it doesn't actually block the lanterns off. Like there's nothing stopping the lanterns from emitting their light, because they're not getting buried, they're not getting trapped, they're just kind of having all of these cells just wrap around. Yeah. Now, this is kind of how I want each individual cell to look, where I might do it in the floor, I might do it in the wall, I'm not sure, but that's basically how I want it to look. Not like this, where it's forward like this, because if it's forward, then, well, there's going to be lanterns here, for starters. I could move this cell just a little bit closer, as well as this cell, and that would align it to the torches. I might actually do that. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Therefore, I need to go through, pick up all of these items real quick. I will pick up these. The downside to doing this is that this will only give me a very limited amount of room to work in as far as the as far as the ability to introduce a zombie into the system for price discounts, assuming I have more than enough gold and apples to, handle that situation. I am still a little surprised that they got rid of the enchanted golden apples from the crafting system, as that was kind of one of the end game crafting items that people would craft whenever they wanted to just basically have an easy time fighting the dragon. They would just use notch golden apples complete with the regen and the damage resistance, the absorption, all that stuff. They would use those. That was easy mode dragon fight. Just get a stack of those and you'll be fine. You really can't lose. Really. Therefore, I'm a little sad to see that the crafting recipe is gone. However, apparently the item itself is not gone from the game. It is just the crafting recipe, specifically because they wanted to make it more difficult to get them, I guess. But, that defeats the purpose of the item. The item was literally created by Notch to make the game easier for the more casual players. Therefore, I think Mojang kind of shot themselves in the foot on that one, as they say. They didn't actually shoot themselves in the foot, but it's a proverbial saying, meaning basically they did something that was not very productive. It was counterproductive. It was in opposition to the progression which the game of Minecraft was originally built around. Specifically, people had originally mentioned that the dragon fights were far, far too difficult, and Notch was like, okay, well, if these dragon fights are too difficult, then what we'll do is we will just make the fights easier. And they tried that, and they found that even in just the testing of making the fights easier, it became so much easier for the more advanced players that the advanced players were just getting bored. They were getting extremely bored with the dragon fights, to the point where some of the testers were actually falling asleep on them. And it's well, that's not good. You're telling me it's boring to the point where you're passing out fighting the Ender Dragon because you're just bored? You got bored to sleep. Oh my. We can't have that, for sure. That's not an intended game mechanic if you're getting put to sleep because you're so bored from trying to fight the Ender Dragon. So he introduced a food item that, for the longest time, people didn't even know about. But he introduced it and he said, okay, if you want to fight the Ender Dragon, and you want to have a really easy fight, put an apple in a crafting table and surround it with gold blocks. And that was actually a fair trade, because the majority of the people who were struggling with the Ender Dragon fight was people who were based more around construction and like redstone mechanics and all this other stuff. They weren't fighters, they were builders, you know? But they needed the materials from the End Dragon in order to, advance with certain aspects of their construction. For example, a beacon requires fighting the Wither. The Wither was another reason that golden apples were introduced. It was kind of a solve two equations with one solution type of situation. And it was very effective. But, Mojang apparently decided that they wanted to remove the crafting recipe for enchanted golden apples. You can still craft golden apples, the ones for curing zombie villagers, but the really overpowered, superpowered golden apples made with, apples and blocks of gold is not in the crafting recipe list anymore. You might still be able to craft it, depending on your server, but at some point recently, they apparently removed the enchanted golden apple crafting recipe from the game of Minecraft, and that's kind of sad, because that was an important piece of Minecraft history. That was a wonderful method of resolution of a common problem in many different games that are saying, okay, you want an easy mode for this super difficult fight, but your friend who is very skilled at the game still wants it to be challenging. How do we solve for both? How do we solve this? In a lot of games, a lot of the more casual games these days they just don't solve for it. Instead, they just either say, look, you can adjust the difficulty or you cannot. And it's like, what if we don't want to adjust the difficulty? What if we don't want to do it that way? And in some instances, the difficulty isn't even the problem. Some of the people that were having difficulty fighting the dragon were on peaceful. They were on the easiest difficulty they could possibly get on, and they were still dying. And it's like, how do you die on the easiest difficulty? Answer, it's very hard, and usually involves the Ender Dragon. But, they were managing to die against the Ender Dragon on even the easiest of difficulties. And this was a very good solution, the enchanted golden apple. Now, it is still possible to obtain the enchanted golden apple. However, you can no longer craft it. You have to instead find it from, I believe it was desert temples. You have to go and just raid countless desert temples to get all of the golden apples that you need to go fight the Ender Dragon. Which I suppose works, but it does limit the skill level of the player, because if the player is not a exploring type of person, if they're not very skilled at exploring,
then they will not be finding themselves very well equipped to actually go and face the Ender Dragon, because they can't get enough golden apples, because they're not very skilled explorers. You know, it's issues like this that usually come up in beta testing. Minecraft is far beyond the level of beta testing. They still have an open beta, basically, but that beta is widely advertised as potentially problematic. You know, it is no secret that the beta is full of issues half the time. Okay? That's not on question here. You know, we all know what the beta is like because we've all seen the beta. We've all seen the lag from the forests being on fire. We've all seen the lag from, you know, monster spawners not behaving properly. We've all seen the various issues of, you know, the blocks not behaving right, the various behaviors not syncing properly with what they're supposed to do. Like, these are all various issues that are expected in most betas, you know. But, you know, I'm not a fan of the beta. I don't like playing in the beta because the beta is broken, you know. Yes, they have made good advancements lately, but it's still broken. And on top of that, if I do play in the beta, then I can't return to the normal version of Minecraft until they release another stable update. Meaning, if I were to update right now, for example, I wouldn't be able to return to this world in a stable build unless I waited for them to release like Minecraft 17.3 or Minecraft 18.0. I don't know what their next release of Minecraft is going to be. And therefore, I'm not going to go to the beta because the beta is just a trap at this point for people like me, where I don't easily have a method of transferring between beta or non-beta. I don't have a Minecraft launcher. I just have Minecraft Bedrock Edition from the Google Play Store. And if I go to the beta, then it's not going to let me back until a major update to the game is released publicly. And that's a problem, because I tend to play this game a lot, and I tend to want to enjoy a lot of the regular features of this game. But if they're going to limit me like that, I'm just not going to play the beta. You know, if that's the way they want to do it, that's my solution. I'm just not going to play the beta. Okay. I have way too much material in my inventory at the moment, but that is not the issue that I am currently working through. The issue I am currently working through is that I need these walls built up for the traders, or for the villagers to be safe enough to trade. I must
build an exchange hall, as it were. Okay, now I want the minecart. This is where you really get to see just how much I've done with this base. You get to make a good visual scale of just how much work I've put into this base, because you can see just how big the darn place is. This place is huge. Let's see, I want this one, and I want diorite. Get that all crafted up. I want andesite. Get that all crafted up. And then granite. Get that all crafted up. Now we've got the diorite. Got the andesite. Got the granite. Got the various ores: coal, redstone, diamond, lapis, iron. Let's see, wasn't there... Ah, right. Additionally, wasn't there some torches down here I could grab? No? I believe I moved them all the way up to the pumpkin farm. Yeah, looks like I did. Okay. Oop. I don't want to go over there yet because I want to deposit stone at these furnaces. Now I want to go over here. Go over here to the cobblestone, deposit the cobblestone. Always good to have your cobblestone organized. Deposit the gravel. Oop, looks like I have a full stack of gravel. That's going into storage. And then deposit the stone. Another stack of stone. There we go. Looks like this trip was net positive. That's good. Yeah. We can now see just how much material I have excavated. We can see just how far reaching all of this construction actually goes. Now you can see, yes, this entire thing is fitting within the span of one chunk. Yeah, I think the lag that I'm experiencing every 7 blocks is, I think that's the game checking to see if it should slow down the minecart. Because I think it's checking to see if it recently got a speed boost or not. And you can see now what I'm talking about on the on the full auto kelp farm here, about needing to move the kelp farm because it's crossing a chunk boundary. You can really see it a lot better now. There is so much kelp being processed by this system. It is obscene. And keep in mind, I'm still letting the kelp farm itself run normal. Like, that's still fine. Currently level 66. Now I'm level 69. Now I'm level 71. Yeah. But you can see, like, yeah, I have this all chunk aligned. I have it all mapped out. You can see that I've got all of this stuff with its lovely border and its pristine mapping. The village is roughly right over there, actually. Can I see that? I think I can kind of see it in the distance, but it's way over there. That's where I went in order to retrieve the villagers, which I will be getting. There's another village that's like right over there, but the majority of the villages are actually over there. Like, past that mountain, there is like 8 villages. It's obscene. Yeah, it's really obscene. It's a lot. Okay. This guy's gonna get shot up. Let's see. There he goes. Looks like he dropped an emerald, and was there anything else? Let's check. Anything in here? Doesn't look like it. You know, the odd part about him getting trapped in here is there's legitimately an actual valid exit. Like, he was just swimming. I was just like, that's a bad guy. Swimming in one of my nearby ponds. You know? Yeah, I'm going to want to have a massive quantity of wheat. May not be immediately obvious why, but it will soon become apparent because I will need to I'll need to look into getting leather. I'll need to look into getting steak. I'll need to look into getting wool. I actually need wool for an achievement. I need the rainbow wool achievement, which basically means collecting one of each color of each type of wool, all 16. There are 2 ways to achieve that. One, I can craft dye for each type of wool, and I can just use white sheep in order to get any type of wool that I want. You know, I want to have all of these animals follow me around because I want to have let's see, I want to have Okay, I want to have a bunch of leads. Okay. Unleash them and him. And then I'm going to craft some fence gates. Or just some fences, actually. Oh boy. Okay, well, that's going to prove interesting. Because for the most part, I am out of logs. Additionally, I'm going to use this as the animal pen. Hey, you. Get back here. Now you... No. You... are going to go over here. Okay. Yeah, you're going right here. Now that I have something inhabiting this area, I can actually take down all of these flowers, because that was kind of the only purpose that these flowers were serving, was just something to fill the space. Okay. You get feeding, you get a feeding. Then you get a leash. Then you get a leash. You get a leash. I said you get a leash. There we go. Now all three of you are tied there. Okay. I will upgrade that at some point in the future. First I shall store alongside these leads the fence gates. On top of that, I shall apply the carpet to this area. Oops, did not want floating carpet. Thank you. There we go. Skeleton horse is still doing fine. That's good. Let's see. I want to store about a stack of seeds in there. Then I want to enjoy having more wheat growing, because if each llama that I make is going to require a bale of hay, or no, 2 bales of hay, one for each llama parent, then I'm going to want to have a very large quantity of hay available in order to make as many llamas as I can for various uses. Some of those uses may involve item duplication, some of those uses may involve just item transportation. I haven't really decided yet. I know that there is the option of duplicating items using llamas through the use of doing a zero-tick teleport, which is where you die on the same frame that you teleport. So in the same moment of logic as teleporting, you die, and that causes the items that you were carrying to duplicate because you teleport and die simultaneously. But because you're teleporting to another dimension, you respawn in the other dimension with all of your items, and on top of that, all of the items that you were carrying are dropped. But because, you just spawned in, they aren't dropped from you, they're dropped from where your inventory was, your old inventory, that is, before you teleported. It's a little difficult to explain with words, but basically, in the instant that you teleport, your inventory is briefly, marked down as being okay to just clear from memory. This is obviously not okay because, it's your inventory. But at the same time, there is the factor of, if you recently teleported, you will find that your inventory is kind of just fine. Like, if you manage to teleport on that exact frame, your inventory is fine, you're alive, you're not dead, but you'll drop your inventory as though you were dead. And then you'll still have your inventory, but you'll be alive with your entire inventory now located at your feet. And then you can teleport back to the overworld and do it all over again. Because the specific trick was to die in the same moment that you teleport out of the overworld. That is a glitch, by the way. It's an item duplication glitch. If you're curious, they use it in NexusCraft servers in order for them to duplicate some of the more difficult to obtain items. I believe shulker boxes were on that list, but they didn't actually need to duplicate shulker boxes after a while because they eventually reached a point where they were just so OP that they were just kind of fine. But then again, they were doing massive experiments that were like basically pushing the limits of Minecraft as a program, not just as a game, but as a program. You know, they were really pushing the boundaries in NexusCraft. I was seeing some of the stuff they were doing, and it was amazing. But it was very technical, very detail-oriented. Definitely not the type of content for everyone. Because they're sitting there talking about, like, spawn limits for monsters and, you know, how to set up a monster switch, how to set up wireless redstone by relying on the random number generation, which I personally think was just genius. They embraced the random number generation in order to establish a wireless redstone signal. It was really quite ingenious, because that means that the encryption key for their wireless redstone signal is the random number generation key, which, you know, unless you're like an AI or something, the RNG is going to be something that you do not normally interact with. You know, AIs can obviously do RNG manipulation, but, you know, if you're getting RNG manipulation levels of specifics, then you're kind of well above most average players of Minecraft. Like, the NexusCraft server is just a whole nother level of Minecraft, basically. They're on a whole different level. They don't really care all that much about some of the normal things of Minecraft. Like, they play normal Minecraft sometimes, but for the most part, NexusCraft is just kind of NexusCraft. There's really no other way to describe NexusCraft. Oh wow, really? It's all the way up there still, huh? That's fine. It'll empty out eventually. Because eventually the choke point will empty out. You know, This farm does not produce a net positive, like, backlog. It produces net positive fuel, but it does not produce a net positive backlog. Okay, now that I have all of that,